Thank you for meeting with me. What inspired you to become a teacher?
So I went to high school here, and I was inspired by my teachers to be a teacher. I graduated in a year where education, a lot of things were unknown at that time. So I didn't end up going into education. I went into the medical field. I took the medical field route, but I really looked up to and was inspired by my teachers, and I wanted to do that for my community and my students as well.
How do your students inspire you?
The students of this community have a lot of, I get nervous on these questions. I think that we're overlooked a lot because we are a smaller, not on the I-5 corridor school, but it doesn't hold them back. Academically, we have, here at Henley, we have some of the strongest CTE programs I would say across the state. We have students who know their path before they even step out of here. When they come in as sophomores or juniors, they know what they want to do, and nothing is going to stop them from doing it. And I think that's something really cool and unique to this community. Being an agriculturally sound, heavy community, we also have a lot of families that have been here for years and years and years, and I love that. I love that sense of community, I guess, for lack of a better term.
What did you decide to do after you graduated high school?
I tell my students this all the time. I changed my major a lot. I was dental hygiene, then I was nursing, and I didn't get into the nursing program, so I faced some adversity there. Didn't really know what I wanted to do once I didn't get into nursing. I was kind of at this point in my life where I just felt a little bit lost. And actually, my little sister was already in the x-ray program at OIT. She always has to outdo me. And so I applied and I got in, and I loved it. I absolutely fell in love with it. I loved doing patient care and, I'm a people person, obviously, so talking to patients, and ended up specializing in mammography, so I can do general x-ray and mammography. I still work on the summers and school breaks doing mammography.
How did you make the transition from industry to teaching?
So I was working in town at a clinic. The principal at Henley was my teacher when I went here for anatomy and physiology. I actually saw him buying a deer tag, incidentally, at the store, small town, right? And he said, "Hey, Jess, we're gonna have a job come open in health occupations. Would you be interested?" And maybe, I kind of wanted to be a teacher always, and really thought it over, and I thought, yeah, I do. I had a baby at home. I wanted to be on her schedule when she got to school, be able to spend more time with her, and I just took the leap and changed careers.
What does community mean to you?
Okay, we're in a really, I would say, a large community because it encompasses so many outlying areas, because you have Merrill, Malin, Tule Lake, which is in California, but it's still, I would say, part of our community. It has the small town feel, although it's quite large because of that. You have, Henley is known as Cow Pie High in our town because we are out in the country versus in the city, because we have 3 other high schools here, but it's still considered rural. So from a community standpoint, I want to show my students what our community has to offer, because I was the same way in high school. I couldn't wait to get out of here, but once you leave, you realize how great of a place it really is, and I want to show them that before they even quote unquote leave for college. So if that means they go to college here and they stay and they work at the hospital, or they work at a clinic, or they open their own veterinary practice, for me, that's giving back to the community.
Why did you want to leave in the first place?
Oh, I just felt like this town didn't have a lot to offer, because I just took it for granted. I literally took it for granted. I felt like everybody knew everybody, and it was that small town feel, and at that time I hated it. And then when I left, I realized how much I missed it, and for me, it the thing I hated was the thing that I actually wanted to come back to and raise my own family in. So for me, leaving was good, but I want to open the eyes of my students to that before they even have to leave.
Why is education important to you personally?
Oh, education drives everything. So without education, you can't really do anything. Speaking in the medical field, like with technological advancements, with just reading and writing and forming that solid base at the elementary level, it's all important. It's what drives us moving forward.
What do you wish that you knew about teaching before you entered the profession?
Teaching is not a 9-to-5 job. You don't just leave it at the door. You can't. If you're emotionally invested in your students, you sometimes lose sleep over it. You worry about them like you would worry about your family. It requires a lot outside of work, like our normal work hours. And I wish I would have known that a little more before I changed careers.
What does your typical workday look like?
My average day. I get up at like 5 a.m. because I like to get ready before my daughter gets up. And then get ready, do all that good stuff, get her ready. I get to the school about 6:45 and she comes with me to the school, my 5-year-old. I do like last minute check emails, make sure everything's caught up, grading, make sure our online classes are all set up, good to go, get things pulled up if I need to have lectures, anything like that. About 7:45, I walk my daughter over to the elementary school. She's going to be a Henley Hornet as well. Then I start. So I have classes from 8:15 until 3:18. I have one prep period in between. A lot of variety in my day. Classes spread all over the place and different age groups, and I love it. I usually leave school when I'm not coaching at like 4-ish. When I am coaching, I'm typically here till 7. So just depends on the time of year.
What skills do you need to become a teacher?
So I'm in career and technical education. So I had to have 2,000 hours in my occupation to be able to teach. So because I have 2,000 hours in a healthcare field, I could teach. Along with that, I had to take several classes at Eastern Oregon University in teaching. So curriculum design, classroom management, things like that to help me along the way because I didn't take the traditional route of teaching. And those classes were really, really beneficial. You have to realize that you are making more of an impact on students than what you may even know, and to really try to get to know every single one of your students. Like that's one thing. If you are shy or you have problems like talking in front of people, don't let it hold you back because it's different when you're not talking to your peers. When you're talking to students, it feels different. So don't let that hold you back if that's something you're afraid of.
What do you want for your students?
Yeah, well, I really care about my students a lot. They're more than just my students. Like sometimes, I've babysat some of these kids or I've never met them and they hold a place in my heart. And that's why I love teaching so much as well. For my students to leave here, obviously, I want to teach them my subject area, but for me, it's bigger than that. I want them to know how to treat people. I want them to be good husbands and wives and brothers and sisters and sons and daughters. And for me, that's what I want to teach them is like a mutual respect between like your adults and your peers, because if you can't do that, you can't do anything successful really in your life.
What's it like saying goodbye to your students?
It's both. It's emotional and exciting because I know that they're going to go be successful in whatever they choose to do, but it's sad because they're going to be gone. I purposely don't go to graduation and my seniors get mad because I don't like to say goodbye. I want them to come back and see me. I don't want it to be like a concrete goodbye. And so for me, that's hard. And I'm just now coming on a year where like I've had these kids from freshman year all the way up to senior year, and it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tough year to see them go, especially during COVID and all of that stuff that we've had to deal with. So,
what is the best part of your workday?
Any of them where I have students, for the most part. I try to keep an open mind. I mean, as teachers, we all have those students where you're like, oh, I have so-and-so, or I have, Sue Smith, and she's just pain in my side. But I really try to see the good in everybody, and I try to talk to them like they're almost adults, because I'm at the high school level, and try to really form a bond with them outside of school. Like, what do you like to do? Oh, I like to do that too. And just form a mutual respectable relationship with them, and usually they start to open up, and I love that. I love knowing more about them than just if they got an A on my test or turned everything in.
What is difficult about your job?
Lesson planning, creating assignments that they like is challenging. Right now, technology, so social media, and just you can't win, it seems, a lot of times. So all I try to do is, there's always going to be one or two that don't like anything that you plan, and you just have to encourage them and try to be positive. That's pretty much it.
How can the next generations of students become involved in teaching?
I would challenge anybody who's interested in teaching or thinks that they don't understand why we do what we do. Like, just come in and see, come in and see what we do so you can better understand. I don't know one person who would say, don't come in my classroom. Even a parent, like, if you're wondering what it's like, come in and visit, come in and see, and then you might understand a little better of why we do what we do.